The people meeting here make no bones about their beliefs. They openly profess to being part of the National Socialist community. Neo-Nazis from throughout Northern Europe have gathered here in a Swedish backwater, the far-right fringe of the far right. Almost 600 members and sympathizers of the so-called Nordic resistance movement are present. They're calling for a Nordic revolution, the creation of a racially pure society, and they're prepared to use violence to achieve those ends.
This movement is so dangerous because it's the most militant organization among the far-right groups. It's become the dominant power in the scene.
And Jonathan Lehman should know. A social scientist, he works for the Expo Foundation, which has been observing right-wing extremism in Sweden for years. That's why he's here today.
1/4 of its activists were either convicted or at least charged with the illegal possession of weapons in 2015 alone.
The neo-Nazis have, for example, been linked with bombings near asylum seekers' hostels, which left 2 people seriously injured. Sweden's domestic intelligence agency, the Säpo, has arrested 3 suspects from the group in connection with the incidents. The Nordic resistance movement was unwilling to talk to us, but the group's political leader shows clearly what he thinks of Sweden's defense minister, calling him a traitor of the people because he wants to cooperate closely with NATO. The neo-Nazis' website is also no less clear about what they want. They call for the, quote, deportation of people who aren't ethnic Northern Europeans as soon as possible. They also speak of the need to, quote, repel the powerful Zionist elite and its military and economic influence. Their declared aim? To introduce a National Socialist society. And they're not just active in Sweden. There's also a group in Norway and a very active one in Finland. Last September, a man died after being assaulted at a neo-Nazi rally. He had protested against their views. Police arrested a Finnish branch member. In Sweden, the neo-Nazis are concentrating on building up support in rural areas, like here in Falun in central Sweden. And they're very much making their presence felt.
They try to intimidate people. I've experienced that because I'm actively fighting racism, but my friends who aren't as politically active have also experienced it.
The neo-Nazis have profited from the surge in support for the Sweden Democrats, a right-wing populist party, even though the party officially distances itself from the resistance movement.
There are members of the SD and representatives that express support sometimes for groups such as the Nordic resistance movement. The Sweden Democrats, is a party which works in the Swedish parliament, and whereas this is a revolutionary Nazi movement.
Today there are no clashes. The Scandinavians are generally famed for their tolerance and cool-headedness. The neo-Nazis represent a real challenge to those values.